our spouses. And, you know, Nana was like, what's the topic today? And I was like, oh, it's going to be like how we met our spouses. And as I was saying that, I was like, I hope anyone cares about this topic.
I love hearing about, like, other people's stories and how they met. So
I do, too.
I feel like people like it.
Surely.
Hopefully.
They can get out. They can unsubscribe if they don't like the topic. Okay, let me pull up my notes here. So, okay, like I said, I gave myself a whole bunch of questions. So...
You gave yourself questions?
I gave myself questions because I didn't have time to give myself notes, like what I wanted to say. So I just
you had time to give yourself questions.
I feel like that's harder.
But not give...
Well, yeah, because typing the day you met ? Is a lot faster to type out than, like, what all happened the day that we met.
I just put
like bullet points.
Met at work, like things I just need to remember to say.
Okay, cool. That's basically what I did, but for some reason I put a question mark at the end. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so I am married to Noah Chafin Cook, and we've been married for 6 years now.
Sheesh.
And thank you. And I just felt like I had to say that first, girls. Well, maybe I should have kept the suspense. We'll cut it out. Okay. So the day that we met it feels kind of like uneventful, or like it doesn't matter because, like, it was in high school and it's like, who cares about what happened that long ago? But I guess it matters because that's the day we met. But I do remember the day that we met, and I used to not remember this day. But then when he told me he remembered the day that we met, I actually then remembered, if that makes sense. And I didn't say that last time, but I was like, oh, I actually do remember meeting you, but at first I didn't. But we met in high school, and we were both in theater. And so it was like the day that I wasn't even a freshman yet, which is like I was a child. And I was going to this event thing, where you could like go and experience what an extracurricular would look like at the high school or whatever. So I went up there, and that is the day that I met him. I remember he was standing in the little shop where you could like build things for set and stuff. And I was like, hey, I'm Megan. And he didn't say anything. And there was like other people around too. And that was it. That was the day that we met. And I don't know.
But started it all.
I feel like I could give his perspective. Like, he's told me that he was like, I didn't really like you at first because I was like, why is she so friendly? Which is such a Noah thing to say. He's such a grump sometimes. Love it. But he is such a grump sometimes. He's just like, why are you so happy? So anyway, I do remember that day. And then when I think about Noah, like, and us and our early relationship, not like dating, but just like knowing each other, we just were in high school together, and he was 2 years older than me. And so I really was not like romantically interested in him. Like, you know, we were just friends. But I will say we have always seen each other. Like, I feel like when he was around, you know, like when we were in each other's presence, it would just be like there was like this like pull. It sounds so cheesy, but it's so true. Like, I just feel like that was Yahweh like prepping my heart, you know, to like be open to. I don't think I could have. I said this last time too. I don't think I could have married somebody that I wasn't friends with first.
Also, can I just add this?
Sure. Oh no.
No, it's good. Our family was like obsessed with you. I feel like we always were like, "Well, where's Megan? Megan's so fun." And my dad always talks about the time you came to the house for the first time and like laid on the stairs, and you were like, "I just love this house."
I have heard that story so many times, and Keely said that she was thinking, well, I can't date a girl like Megan.
I know, they love to like, your family hypes me up all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought you were cool too. And then one time we went to high school together, and I'm walking in the hall and I saw Megan, and I was like a freshman, and I was like, "Hi, Megan," and this was her. Kept walking, and I was like,
I have no recollection. But you are not the only person to tell me. In my, like, literally people all the time at school would be like, I waved at you in the hallway and you didn't say anything. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So I guess I was just like focused. Like, I was like going where I was going.
Now that I know you, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I'm so, like, I'm the least observant person in the world. So you always tell me that. I'm like, that makes me so sad. Like, but I could never do. I don't know. It makes me sad.
What's the age difference with y'all? Like, when you were a freshman, were you a junior?
Or were you junior?
I don't know. What year did you graduate?
19.
I graduated in 2016. So I was I don't know, what does that mean?
Sophomore, junior.
Okay,
Probably a junior.
I was 3 years older than you, is that right?
So then you would have been a senior.
When you were a freshman?
3 years in age, though. So that could be a junior.
I have no
Yeah.
I literally don't
Anyway,
know.
it doesn't matter. Junior or
We
senior.
didn't really cross paths though, like ever, you know, so that's so crazy. But I do remember when y'all were moving into the big house that me and Noah were spending a lot of time together that summer. And yeah, I remember that house and your mom like had all this stuff and you guys were moving all this stuff out of the house. And it's just so crazy because like at that time, actually I wasn't dating him at that time, but he was dating somebody else. And so it's just weird because we literally spent like so much time together and really we got to know each other really well, you know, and it was like, there was like no pressure, you know, and so that was nice. So that was kind of like our relationship. And then honestly, like he graduated and we just like never talked for like years. And so that was like, I think 2 years out of high school, or maybe a little less than 2 years. I really can't remember. But I had also been dating somebody else and that had ended. And the next question that I put on here was who pursued who, which I feel like would be good for all of us to kind of answer. But I definitely pursued him. And I remember because I messaged him and I was like, I would really like to get lunch with you sometimes. Because I remember
told him
thinking,
about Panera.
yeah, this happened after. That's good.
Oh,
That's good. I'm glad you're saying that. So I Snapchatted, because Snapchat was like the thing, you know, at the time. And I Snapchatted Noah, which was like so bold of me. And I was like, hey, like, how are you? Like, I would really like to get lunch with you sometime. I didn't even know if he was like still dating someone. I didn't know anything. But he messaged me back like so fast and was like, yeah, I would love to get lunch sometime. And I was like, awesome. And then we just kind of like, I think we picked a day like when we wanted to go to lunch. And then like that week, that we were kind of just like still kind of like messaging back and forth, just like, you know, like meaningless, like, hey, you know, like stuff. And then I went to Panera in Lake Worth, and I spent a lot of time in Lake Worth because I was going to school and stuff. And I went to the bathroom. So many of my stories happen in the bathroom.
No, when
That is so weird.
we were at lunch today because Emery came with us.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
Noah was talking about how when he would listen to the podcast, all of your stories do happen in the bathroom. And he said that he loved that part of the last episode because he just thought it was so funny.
That's so, I do not know why this is. I just, honestly, I'm going to be honest. I feel like I'm just being more honest than other people about where I was when things happened, because we spend a lot of time in the bathroom as human beings. But anyway, so I was at Panera and I like went in the bathroom and I was washing my no actually I hadn't even gone to the bathroom yet. I walked in the bathroom and there was this old woman. There was an old woman and there was this little girl and she was like the cutest little girl I've ever seen. Her eyes were like this big. And I was like, oh, and I walked in and she goes, not the little girl, but the woman, she goes, Megan. And I was like, like, I was like, I have no idea who you are. And she was like, I'm Noah's Nana. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, you are Noah's Nana. Like, I mean, I hadn't seen her in years. So you can't blame me. And she was like, and this is Noah's cousin, Zoe. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, she's literally so cute. I just will never forget seeing Zoe for the first time because literally like her eyes were like half of her face. She was just so cute. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then Nana like started telling me all the stuff that Noah's up to. And she was like, yeah, he's like because he was doing films and stuff at the time. And she was like, yeah, his film's like going to be in Sundance. And I was like, that's crazy, which is like a really big film festival. Later found out that was not true. Nana was very confused as to like what was going on. But anyway, she did tell me that. And so I was like, dang. So I messaged him like right after that. And I was like, I just ran into your Nana in the bathroom. And he was like, that's weird. Anyway, so that did happen. And then the very first time, I don't want to forget to say this either, but we did our little date lunch thing. We didn't call it a day, but it was. And we went and we like went to Steel City Pops and we went to Rodeo Go and we did all this fun stuff. And then we just like never really stopped messaging or hanging out. It was just like, we were just together all the time. And the first time that I came back to this property, I guess I should say, because I'd already been here way back, was you guys were doing Sukkot, which is like so crazy to think, because that's like, that's such a meaningful thing to me now, but I didn't realize how much it would mean to me later. But you guys were doing Sukkot, and all the Jews were there, which is like a family that we like used to do Bible study with and stuff. And everyone was there, his whole family, and it was really fun. And I feel like I'm kind of like getting off track a little bit, but I don't know. And then this question is probably good too. It said, when did you become a thing? And I feel like it just like happened. And also I have to say that no one ever asked me to be his girlfriend. And he says that he did. And I'm like, I feel like I would know.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, I think I would remember. He never did, which is fine. It happened anyway. I actually have this story that I don't know if I want to share because it is so weirdly embarrassing.
Sure, and then we can cut it out if you want.
Okay. So this is like, I actually completely forgot that this had happened when we tried to do this last time. Okay. So it's just so weird. It gives me secondhand embarrassment, and it happened to me. So like, okay, we're at Starbucks, which is where I used to work. And we were like there late at night, and we were just like hanging out, like, cause I was like on the night shift. And so I think I was hanging out with him like on my 10-minute break. Like he like came to say hi or something. And we were sitting outside, and there was this customer that used to come to this Starbucks. And he was just a really strange, weird guy. And he was like younger, like probably in his 20s. And I'm like 19, I think, at the time. And his name was Mouse, the customer. Oh. And you'd be like, what's your name? And he'd be like, my name's Mouse. And all the baristas, like, he came all the time, and we'd be like, okay, we just type in Mouse. And, it would be on a sticker. And he always wore this little hat, this little, like, newsboy hat. And he was just a really strange guy. And he would always, like, want to talk to you. And he'd be like, oh, like, just try and be nice, like, have a conversation. Anyway, so one time I was on my 10-minute break, and me and Noah were sitting outside, and it's, like, dark outside. And Mouse, this customer, is walking into the building, and he looks at us and was like, so, like, do you guys love each other? No hello, no hi, like, no, like, hey, random man. Well, no, I mean, he was a man. He, like, didn't, and it was just so strange. And me and Noah were like, I mean, I don't know, it's, like, really, like, too soon to tell. Why we felt obligated to give this man an answer, I don't know. Yeah. It could have been, like, leave. Now older, I would have been like, Mouse, that's completely inappropriate. I don't even know you as a person. You're just this random man that comes to Starbucks on Tuesdays. Like, it was just so weird. And so anyway, that is unfortunately how me and Noah told each other that we loved each other. We did it like 2 hours later. We're like, I do love you. And I'm sorry that it had to be this way, and that Mouse was involved in this story. And anyway, this
that's
just
so
like
funny.
Such a weird, it's so weird.
Y'all just need a Mouse to give you the courage.
We need a Mouse. Give us.
Were you scared to say it?
Not really. And we'd been dating like 3 months at the time.
Who like said it first? Like,
I think it was me.
Yeah.
But it didn't really matter because I mean, like, I feel like I just talk more. I think if I'd given Noah the opportunity, probably would have. But I was like, I love you, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but it was
Patrick. I love you.
Yeah. So anyway, that was like 3 months after we started dating, and quite honestly, we just were like, we're gonna get married, and I think we both knew it, and it was just like, that was it,
Mm-hmm.
And so that actually answers my next question. I put, when did you know? Unfortunately, Mouse, I guess, pushed us to that conclusion. And then I also have on here, how did you determine that faith was important to both of you? And I feel like this was important for me to put on here because I knew that I was looking for a person, a man, that was like, his faith was like his own. And like, everyone says that, but like, I needed to find a man that was like, that it was important to me to find someone that like this sounds kind of like opposite, but just hear me out, that didn't bring me into his faith before we were married.
It's like obvious that he believes like I don't know, on his own.
On his own. Like, that wasn't like leaning on me or anyone else to tell him what to believe and how to believe and like, you know, all that stuff. And I don't think I knew that until I was with Noah, because both of us really grew a lot in our faith when we were dating, because like you know, I'll let him tell his own story whenever, but he has told me that like dating me, and this is not me like patting myself on the back, he realized like I need to get my life together, you know, and like if I'm going to be serious about my faith, like no one's going to just like do that for me, and it's not just going to like happen. Like if I want to have like a successful relationship with God and with this girl, then like I've got to like be serious about it, like treat it like it's a serious thing. And so seeing him be so open and vulnerable and telling me that really made me, I think, also feel that way about things. So that was really good. So we both grew like a lot. So honestly, just like really open and vulnerable conversations was what made me understand that faith was important to him. And also because his faith did look different than mine. Because like he was celebrating things that I didn't celebrate. Like I was celebrating Easter and Christmas, which I feel like are obviously that's how I was raised. And he was celebrating like, you know, Passover and Sukkot, and understanding I had to go through and in my relationship with him, I also had to challenge my faith, because I had to look at those things and say, because I was willing to put our relationship on the line if his faith was not up to the Bible standards, if that made sense. Because that's why I kept coming to Bible study, because he was like, come to this Bible study that my family does. We have Bible study every Saturday night, and he wasn't even really going a lot at that time, but that's when he decided I'm going to be serious, you know. So we were going to church where I had been going. And then we also started going to Saturday night Bible study. And I had to just sit and absorb like everything that was being talked about and that we were reading in study. And everything that was, I think what made it so good was like we were sitting and reading such a large portion of the Bible at one time. Like we'd read chapters at a time, which was not something I'd been used to. And so I literally just had to take the way that, I won't go into it like super deep, but I just had to take the way that he said that like, this is my faith and like, this is what I believe. And I had to take that and compare it to the Bible and ask myself, like, is this biblical? And like, if it's not biblical and he still believes it, like, I can't be here. Like, you know, I can't be in this space. I can't continue this relationship. And then it did. And I was like, oh, like, this is all everything was true, you know? And so anyway,
Isn't it crazy that like reading more than a chapter of the Bible is like, this is weird to people?
Yes.
Yeah, because in church you read like, I mean, some churches read more than others, but usually it's like, we're going to focus on like 5 verses.
Yeah.
And this is enough,
Yeah.
you know?
I think too, like, it also, that's why like Sunday school and like small group studies like are more, I feel like, more popular now, you know, because like you get to read
deeper,
more.
yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of like the meat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where you get to it. And I think that it is super important to be reading large portions to get the context of the verses that you're reading. Like, so that was, that was so helpful to me. So anyway, yeah. So that was kind of all that. And then I put engagement, because that was basically the next thing that happened. And it was here. We were in here, and he was living here because the lease had been up on his apartment, and he was like, Nana had told him, if you want to move into the shop and marry Megan, like, you should do that. And he was like, okay. And so he moved in here, and he'd been living here just like a little while, and we were in here. And he was like, hey, somebody like hired me to do this like tour of Fort Worth, like on video, like a tourism thing, and like I need you to be in it. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was acting so weird, and I was like, he's definitely gonna propose. Like, I was like, I just knew like immediately, because we just I don't know, it's hard for us to keep stuff from each other. And then that's what happened. And we have the video. Maybe I'll put like some clips in or something.
Yeah.
It's a really cute video. It also, for some reason, gives me secondhand embarrassment. I'm like, oh my God, like that's me. That's embarrassing. I don't know why.
it's cute,
Just watching
it's
yourself
fun.
is embarrassing for some reason, but it was so sweet. It was so sweet that he made it so special. And I said yes, obviously. And then I didn't even say the thing about the ring.
Oh yeah.
Should I tell
just
that
say
story?
no. Yeah.
Okay, so before we got engaged, I actually, even though all of this stuff with our faith had happened and I was like so confident in Noah and I was like, I love him and he's exactly the type of person that I want to marry, I still like had this weird, like just this little like seed of like hesitation, I think, because I was like, this is forever. Like if I get married, like I need this to be like, you know, this is forever and I don't
No take
want,
backs.
there's no take backs, no take backs. And this is like, I mean, very serious. And so I just, you know, I was praying and I was like, God, please, like, you know, let me know. I don't know how or what, but like, let me know. Well, Noah had also, he told me he wasn't praying like, let me know if, he was saying like, let me know when, right? Like that's what he'd been praying. Like, let me know when is the right time. And so he was praying that prayer in his car I didn't know this at the time. He told me all this after, but on the way to do this job, he was going to take pictures for this like person that like needed pictures done for something, and with his like nice camera and stuff. And they hadn't really worked out like a payment, and he was like, whatever, like we'll just work it out later. So he went there, and his aunt had actually set up the job, so she was actually there with him. And so he went there and he was taking the pictures for this lady for like her business. And then afterwards, Noah's aunt had said something like, well, you know, pay him well because he's saving up for a ring. And the lady was like, oh, well, I have a ring and I don't need it. Like it was from her, like her previous relationship. And she was like, I don't want this ring and I want you to have it. I feel like I'm supposed to give it to you. And Noah was like, okay. And
That's so sweet. I love that.
I just love it. It's the ring I'm wearing right now. And it was my size and everything. It just was it was just so crazy. And so I remember Nana and Papa had told me too that they like prayed over the ring and, you know, like they wanted it to be like really special, like after Noah had like brought it home, which was like insane that he did that. She had the receipt, she had everything. Not that I've done anything with the receipt. I need to like get it cleaned, but it doesn't matter. So anyway, that's like, yeah, that happened. And then he proposed and did the whole proposal thing. And I said yes. And he told me that after I said yes. And then it was like, I was sure, you know? I don't know why I wasn't sure before. I just wasn't. But that was like, okay, like obviously like God's hands are very, you know, heavily involved in this decision. And like that's what I wanted. I wanted God to be involved. And so, anyway, that was that. And then I told him, I was like applying to nursing school and I was like, we can get married before nursing school or after nursing school, but like I'm not getting married during, like I like gotta just get through. And he was like, okay, before, like, and I was like, okay. And so we got married March 16th of 2019. Which is also my mom's birthday, March 16th. And so we always share that every year. And it was a beautiful day. We got married at my Nana's lake house, which is like 2 doors down from my parents' house. And it was just so awesome. And I remember we like saw each other that day because we were like setting up all the wedding stuff. And he was like on the back of the truck driving. And I was like, you know, I don't know. I just remember that. And it was just so sweet. And everyone I loved was there except for Kendall because we did not know her. And it was just literally so awesome. And it was like from 6 to 9 p.m. It was like fast and furious. We got out of there and then we flew to Seattle for our honeymoon. And that was so fun. And we just had like the best trip. We did like we ate a lot of pizza. Like, I don't know, it was awesome. And I wasn't even 21 yet. And I remember that because I like tried to go to this pizza place and they were like, you can't come in if you're not 21. And I was like, well, I'm not. And they were like, okay, well, don't order anything. And I was like, okay. So anyway, yeah, that's it. That's
sweet.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, Chloe, you're next.
I feel like I did a good job on the last one, so I'm like, hopefully this one's fine.
You're gonna do
I
great.
feel like tired.
I love your story. It's so romantic.
There's like just so many things that happen. It's like, anyway, okay. Yeah, my husband's name's Laramie, and he's a fireman, so he's a lot cooler than I am.
He wishes.
But I will also never forget the day we met. We were working at the student center together, but it was like my first day. And the way our office was, the student workers like sat behind this like weird glass, and then there was like a main office. And I like heard the door open, and like as I heard the door open, I like looked over and I just like saw someone like walk by so fast. And had to say he's a fast walker. It's terrible. I've stopped trying to keep up with him. And then he'll like turn around and be like, hurry up. It's not a race. But at the same time, Yahweh told me like that was gonna be my husband. And I was kind of in a weird place because I was starting to like take my faith seriously and then trying to juggle some of my sorority friends and the things they were doing. But I was like, okay.
He just told you in your head.
Yeah.
He was like, that's going to be your
But
husband.
like, it was like, I don't know. That was the most audible thing from, that I've ever heard. So
I get chills every time. And you told us the story 2 weeks ago.
And so I was like, well, I guess I should introduce myself. And
That's so brave, because I've been like, I'm gonna let him come to me.
yeah, so I did, and then it was just like, hey, okay. And
You're like, you're not going to propose.
We just started working, and I'm sure he thought I was really annoying at first, because I was like, I guess I just need to like keep talking to this guy. And I also was dating someone else at the time, and so like within that same week I was like, okay, well, this guy's out the door.
Yeah.
So also broke up with him that same week.
I mean, like, can you imagine if you hadn't, though? That would have been so much worse. Like, yeah. I like to think that Yahweh was like, I just got to tell her because she's not going to figure it.
Yeah.
That's so good.
But Laramie definitely didn't like me at first because I was in a sorority, but sororities at Tarleton are not like what you see on the movies. I mean, sororities in general really aren't like what you see on the movies, but he didn't like me because of that, because there was another girl that had worked in the office that was a sorority girl, and he just did not like her. So he just kind of put me in a box.
Yeah. How rude.
I know. But we just kind of kept talking, and we talked about our faith a lot, and then some like conspiracy theories and stuff like that.
Normal things.
Yeah. And he said that he wanted a dog. It's like so random. But he was going to look one day, and I was like, I'll go with you. And he was like, okay. And so
I don't remember inviting you, but that's fine.
I just invited myself. And we went, and it was like the sketchiest place. It was like right outside of Heiko, and there were just like cages outside with like dogs. Like, it was like super weird. I was like, I did not think you should buy a dog. And there was like two ladies that were like two older ladies that were there, and it was just like at their house. It was super weird. And then when we came back,
those ladies are our number one fans. So how do you feel now? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We just kind of kept talking at work, and Jenna, my best friend that I was living with, she was like, you just need to ask him out because he's not going to, obviously. And
how long had it been at this point?
Like literally maybe a month or two.
Okay.
Wasn't that long. But he had invited me to go to the BSM, which is this ministry on campus. And I had been going to this place because my friends went there, and it was just like very surface level. Like, I didn't even bring my Bible when I went, so I wasn't really enjoying it that much. And then he invited me to go to his, and I was like, well, if you're there, I'll go. And so I started going there, and it was much deeper than the place I was going. And I made my best friend go with me. And when it ended, she was like, let's go. And I was like, I want to talk to him, but okay. So we like left, and then we went back the next week, and it ended, and she was also like, let's go. And I was like, no.
We came here to see him.
Yeah. And she was like, okay, well, then you better ask him out. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so we were all, it was like us and then probably like 4 or 5 other people like talking, and I was like, I can't ask him out in front of all these people. Like, that's so weird. How am I going to get us, just us? And then we were talking, and he was like, in front of all these people, Chloe, what are you doing this weekend? And I was like, this is so weird, but okay. And I was like, I'm actually going
I love
to
a brave man.
I'm going to my parents because it was like somebody's birthday or who knows, some event. And he was like, oh. And I was like,
well, I'm willing not to
okay.
go.
Or like another day.
Any other time I'm free.
But later he told me he thought I was blowing him off. And I was like, I literally was just going home.
I had to go home to see my family. My blood.
And so on the way back, we were like, because we could walk to our apartment from where the ministry was. And I was like, I'm just gonna like text him and ask him out. And Jenna was like, okay. And so we got back into our apartment and she was like, hold on, I want to be here for this, but I have to shave my legs. And I was like, okay.
I don't know if you took like a video or like a picture when this happened, but I remember like I know what's going on in this moment.
Yeah,
because I
Jenna's
remember
like
you like
sitting
showing us.
on
It's
the
up on
table.
the island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's like shaving her legs at the table. But anyway,
With lotion or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
something ridiculous.
You know, I'm so sorry. I have to interject just so quickly. Me and Jenna like grew up going to like church camps and stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I have a memory of her shaving her legs on the top bunk when we were like camping, like as young girls, like in the 6th grade. I remember her doing that, which we weren't in the same grade, but yeah, anyway. Yeah.
She's a weird girl.
Yeah.
Love her.
I think that was Jenna. And maybe I'm confusing the memory, but I'm telling you, Jenna was
It
there.
probably was
And
her.
also someone was shaving their legs. And I was like, and she was like knocking the razor off. And I was like,
Onto the floor?
I'm like
gonna
95% sure that was Jenna. Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, so I just texted him and asked him out, and he was like, sure. I was like, okay. Thought you'd be a little more enthused, but that's fine.
He had to play it cool.
And then
he had to play hard to get.
Yeah,
apparently.
he was definitely cool guying me. Because then at work,
Oh, I hate that.
I went to work and I like brought it up because like I feel like it's weird if you don't. It's more
Yeah.
weird. And I was like, what do you want to do? Whatever. And he was like, oh, I don't care. And I was like, okay, guess I'll figure this out. Was my idea.
You tried so hard, Chloe.
And
You'll
so
have to redeem him, like at the end. Like tell everyone he's the best.
we had planned to go to a drive-in in Fort Worth, and so we left and we went there. And I remember on the way there, I was like, he let me have the aux, which I was like, this is scary.
It was a test.
Yeah. And
Is in your family like the aux is a big deal, and I had no idea. Like, it's not usually like that, but
I
in
know,
your family,
so I
like
was
that's the
nervous.
thing,
yeah.
and it's crazy.
You're so right.
Literally, it's such a like a big
It's-
deal
well,
if they
honestly,
let you play the music. I have
especially
never
with Micah.
gotten to play the music
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, it's always Micah.
It is always Micah. He doesn't let anyone else have it.
But
And then it's
but
like
then if
jazz,
I were to try,
instrumental
I would
jazz.
get flamed. So, but on the way there, I
Like, I
just
don't even want it.
yeah.
Anyway, okay, sorry.
We just
yeah.
listened to like throwback, like I don't know, like throwback pop, and he was like, "I like this," and I was like,
What's that song? And he likes da-da,
"Fantasy."
da. Yeah.
That song's so good.
It is so good, yeah.
But anyway, so we go to Fort Worth and we pull up to the drive-in, and there's just like a line all the way down the bridge, and I was like, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
And then later we found out that apparently that's just normal, so we should have stayed, but it's fine. We ended up having fun. So then after that we went out to eat. We went to Chewy's, and he had never been to Chewy's, but he also grew up like not near Fort Worth, so we went to Chewy's, and at Chewy's I was like, hey, my family's doing this thing called Sukkot next weekend if you want to come.
So Laramie came to Sago really early on too. That's so crazy.
Which I remember like everyone being like, Chloe's bringing this new guy to Saco.
Yeah.
Like it's a really, really big deal. And Nate was there, and Nate was like so excited to meet Laramie. He was like, I have to see what this guy's all about.
Oh my gosh.
I hope he doesn't listen to that. He was like,
He was putting on a show.
yeah.
He was telling all the stories.
the
Laramie thought it was funny
stories, the
though.
bathroom story.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Laramie was not threatened by Nate. That's why he thought it was
Yeah,
funny.
probably.
Anyway,
He
okay.
was like, who's this goofball?
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, so then we went to dinner and then just kind of walked around Sundance Square, which is in Fort Worth. And we were there till like 10 o'clock. And we both lived in Stephenville. And I remember looking at my clock like, I'm usually in bed by now. Like, I must be having a good time. So
I'm not gonna be the one to cut it short. Yeah.
and then we drove back, and then we just kind of kept hanging out and going to the BSM together and stuff. But we also both had a lot. We were both very serious about our faith, but also had a lot to learn, both of us. And
That's probably true of everybody.
this is also going to make him sound terrible. He's not horrible. He's great. I'm like, it ends on a good note. So, but he broke up with me like 3 or 4 times. I kind of lost count, and I don't really care how many times it was.
It is so. Every time I
It was
hear
a hard time.
burns. Oh gosh.
But every time I was like, Yahweh told me that this was gonna be my husband, so here we go again. Like, I'll just be sad for a little while and it'll be fine.
Do you? That was so sad. Chloe, do you remember when you texted me and I was living here down at the shop and you were up there in your bedroom and I went up there and you were like, he broke up with me again, and then we just cried in your bed.
It was a hard time.
I was like, I don't know how to make her feel better, but I'm going up there. Did that make you feel uncomfortable?
No.
Okay.
I thought you were about to say, did it make you feel good?
Oh, I'm so glad. Because honestly, we really didn't know each other like that well. But you were texting me, so I was like, I'm going up there. Oh, Chloe. Stupid Laramie.
Yeah, he was silly. Well, and I invited him. We all went to Bernie one year. And I like invited him to go on that trip. And that was like the last trip that Nana and Papa went on. We also had so much fun. The kayaks, like.
Yeah. Oh, that was.
And he broke up with me right before that. And I was like, ugh, this is tragic.
He broke up with you right before.
Yeah. Because he was supposed to go.
Actually, I do remember that because Nana and Papa were like, this kid ain't it. They didn't tell you that.
Yeah.
But they were like, everyone treat Chloe with respect and be very nice to her. Like, they were telling us, like, don't ruin this. Like, they were like, don't tease her.
Well,
I remember,
I had a
like,
great
you
trip,
got
but-
him, like, a flannel, because I guess, like, me, you, and Micah, like, we went shopping, like, for Hanukkah, and you, like, got him a flannel, and then he broke up with you, and Micah was like, I wonder if I can have that flannel. And I was like, do not ask that. That was not the time.
That's funny.
That
like,
is
it's a really
the
nice
most
one. And I was like,
Micah thing ever to ask.
like, do not do that to her.
Yeah, I
Well,
kind of remember
also on that trip, me and my dad were like alone outside, and we were like talking, and he was like, I just got to say, that guy is just a fool if he like doesn't want to be with you. And I was like, oh, yes, Dad. Like, but then he was like,
So sweet.
and my
so
dad hasn't really liked anybody I've ever dated.
that. Besides her.
Yeah.
Not right now at this point, though, in the story.
Well, then he was like, but you know, he might come around. And I was like, what? Like, when have you ever said that about anybody I've ever dated? So I was like annoyed. I was like, no, I need you to
Why
be
can't you
mad
just
right
hate
now.
him? Yeah.
And so then I was like, oh, well, maybe this guy isn't. That's annoying, but. And then we had like gotten back together, and we both went on a mission trip. Laramie went to Egypt, and I went to Montana, and we were still together at this point. But while we were away, we had to like text on this app because he was like overseas, and he was kind of being weird. But I was like, he's also busy and in another like on another continent.
Yeah.
So I just tried not to like be in my head about it, and I wanted to enjoy my trip. I didn't want to like be sad while I was there, and I had so much fun. So, but when we got back, I was right because he broke up with me.
You know,
How did he, like, do it? Did he just, like, sit you down and be like,
Well, I went over to his house to see him.
again? Like, how do you tell someone, like, again?
Yeah. I went over to his house to see him, and he was like, just kind of like short with me, and I was like, I want to tell you about my trip. I want to hear about yours, you know. And I was there for like a while, and then he was like, I don't think we should do this or whatever. And I was like, oh my god.
So
Okay.
did he ever say why? Did he say why? Was it? I mean, obviously it was him, but like, you don't have to answer that if you don't want to.
We both just had a lot of growing to do. I don't know. We both had stuff going on,
Sure.
and he was right. But
Yeah.
but it was just frustrating at the time because I was like, I feel like this is right. So just like, let's grow together. But
and-
but we needed to be apart because we grew a lot.
I bet you grew a lot. Well, and I was going to say this, you can totally cut this out if you want, but it makes me think like maybe the reason that you were still like in a relationship tied to him when you were in Montana, because remember Matt? Like, maybe you needed to just, like, keep that distance or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, Matt had a girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Hanging out with Matt all summer was like being with Micah all summer. It was, like, so fun, actually.
I, like, forgot about him until we started talking. Best friends.
Me and Micah, like, we didn't know that you and Laramie were together at this time. So
I didn't either. Like, we were like, Matt's
what if her and Matt
That's funny. That's what
and, like, everyone thought that.
Yeah, we thought you were going to come home with Matt.
He was like...
I remember your dad, like, saying something about Matt, like, maybe he's it. And we were like, we don't know.
Yeah. I think we all thought that.
He was just a friend. He was fun, but just a friend.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we got back from our trips. He broke up with me, and I was like, okay, like, I'm done. Like, this is exhausting. Yeah. And so I just kind of, like, did my own thing. Didn't talk to him, like, at all. Like, we still went to the BSM together. He wasn't working at where we were working before. So, like, I just kind of saw him in passing every now and again, which wasn't fun, but
Did
it was
you question
fine.
that voice that you heard?
Yeah. Because I was just like, this just doesn't make sense, but whatever. If it's gonna happen, maybe it's supposed to happen later. I don't know. So I just kind of like stopped pursuing it altogether. And then randomly, I like was coming home from church, and I like got a text from Laramie, and I was like, what the heck? And he was like, will you be around today? And I was like, yeah, what's up? And he like wanted to get, I had like a backpack that I had borrowed to go on my trip, and he was like basically wanting that back, and I think I had a few of his t-shirts, and I was like, okay, no problem, like I should be home all day, so just like text me when you're coming. He was like, okay. And I was like, I'm being nice, but okay. And it was also his birthday, and I had already had some cookies made, and I was like, I'll just give him these, so like, I don't know, make it,
you're so sweet,
make it less weird or whatever. And I was like so anxious though. I was like, I went outside and like did yard work, and one of my roommates, Grace, she was like, what is going on? Like, you are not acting like yourself. I guess yard work is just crazy for me.
I've never seen you do yard work personally.
So I like told her, and she was like, this is weird. And I was like, Grace, just go away.
Yeah.
And
like, you know something's up when Grace
notices.
When Grace notices, like, that's, we need to have Grace on here.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
She would just laugh the whole time.
Perfect.
But anyway, so he pulled up, and they were going to one of our friends, Sam's. He was like, it was also his birthday, or they were celebrating his birthday or something. I don't know. At his parents' house in Weatherford. So he was like about to leave. And I like grabbed his stuff and like walked down, and we were talking, and he was like, how are you, you know? And I gave him the cookies, and I was about to give him his bag back, and he was like, just keep it. And I was like, why would you, like,
this
what?
Is why
what is
going
on? And he was like, I think I made a mistake, and like all this stuff. And I was like I just didn't even know what to say. I was like, I don't know if I should be annoyed or excited or like what is going on.
So wishy-washy.
And so I was just like, okay, like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Whoa.
Can you imagine someone being like, I made a mistake, and the other person being like,
okay.
Well, I just
like,
didn't know what to say.
Make a mistake.
Yeah. I didn't want to get my hopes up and then just be let down again.
I totally get it. Yeah.
But then we just kind of like kept talking and started hanging out a little bit. Like I definitely wasn't like all in like I had been in the past. But we definitely needed to be apart because both of us like grew a lot, and like I don't know, we both like dove into our relationship separately, which we needed to.
Yeah, that's so good.
And but the more I thought about it, like Laramie kind of checked all my boxes, and Laramie was like, at one point I was just like, I'm not gonna find anybody better than Chloe, so like what am I doing? And that's when I was like, okay. You're right.
He couldn't.
Yeah.
He could never.
And then, so we got back together, and then just kind of, that was it. But then we got engaged, and Laramie, like, took me around all these places. We, like, started on campus, and we went to this, called the Bandstand. It's, like, a big gazebo.
I want you to tell the story of what Laramie did with your dad.
Oh, yeah. So Laramie, well, he went, I think in the same week, he went with his mom to buy a ring, which he didn't tell me any of this, but I had his location.
I remember I was with you and you were like, I was with you and you were like,
I had to know.
look at this. You showed me. Do you remember showing me?
No, but I remember looking. Which I don't know if I ever actually told him that or not. But.
He'll find out when he listens. Yeah.
So he got that, and then I guess he met my dad at Heim, which didn't Micah meet your dad at Heim too? I know. There's
What a
That's the
manly
place.
No, we did not meet my dad at Heim.
And Laramie brought a guitar that he had to like give my dad to like basically say
Win him over.
Yeah, and be like, I'm serious about this. Like, this is what is it called in the Bible? Like the bride price, the bride price, something like that. It was like he was trying to get that across. Basically. Yeah. And of course, my dad was like, "Yeah."
Dad was like, "What? Absolutely." It wasn't the guitar. I think it was just the
gesture.
The gesture, yes.
Yeah, because the guitar. I don't.
And
think
your
it was...
your dad is an excellent judge of character. So knowing that he could really feel Laramie out and see that he was very genuinely like changed within.
Because the last time we got back together, it was pretty quick. Like I think he asked me like 3 months later. I mean, we'd obviously known each other for a while before that, but...
He asked you 3 months after he sat down with Matt?
No, like after we got back together.
Oh,
like, it was really fast.
No, I mean, I get it, yeah.
But, yeah, and then the day that he proposed to me, he took me around all these places that, like, we had some kind of memory with, but we went to the gazebo first, and I was like... I had kind of had a feeling it was going to happen because I had worked at a coffee shop, and he was like, "Are you going to change?" And I was like, "I guess so." Like, what?
Rude.
So, I know.
The story is making me sweat. Like, I'm really hot right now.
So I changed, and then we went to the bandstand, and, like, we had, like, danced there a few times. That sounds cringy, but whatever.
No, it's sweet.
But I was just like, man, he's going to propose me on campus, which is whatever. I'm going to say yes, but... And we were like talking, and then he was like, "All right, you want to get Chick-fil-A?" And I was like, "Sure, I guess so, like whatever." And we went to get Chick-fil-A, and then we walked in the student center, which is where we were working, like where we had met. And I was like, "Oh no!" Like, the bandstand, okay, but in the building, like, this is another level. Because he was, like, saying all these sweet things, like, we met here, like, this is where, like, I remember seeing you for the first time, whatever. And it was all so nice. No. But I was just like, oh, not here.
Yeah.
And then he was like, we, like, ate our lunch, whatever, and he's like, "Okay, you ready to go?" And I was like, okay, like, what's
we
next?
We are going a lot of places today.
And he took me to this, like, overlook, like, in between Stephenville and Glen Rose that we had been to a few times. And it's, like, so pretty. And I was like, oh, okay, like, this is it. And we get out for, like, 5 minutes. And he's like, "Are you ready to go?" And I was like, okay, I guess it's not happening today. Like, and we had to stop in Granbury for some reason. I don't even remember why. But we had to stop there, and he's like, "While we're here, let's go to the boardwalk. We haven't been in a while." And I was like, okay. I just, like, give it up that it was happening. Mm-hmm. And we go on the boardwalk, and he's, like, talking and saying all these sweet things. And I was like, wait a sec.
More sweet things?
Yeah. And then he was like, "I'm cold," and, like, shoved me over. And I was like, what? And
why does moving you make him less cold?
Well, he thought, so Noah and Micah and my pawpaw were, like, filming for us and taking pictures and stuff, and he thought that me being on this side, my face would be in it, or something. He was confused about where I was supposed to be. So, like, in all the pictures and videos, it's Laramie's face.
Yeah. But that's right.
And then he
that video, though, oh my gosh, I'm just thinking about, we have to put it in. Y'all smooching, like, it was just so romantic. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, it was just so sweet. And you looked so, I'm crying. You looked so happy. You literally looked so happy.
Well, I was like, it's about dang time. Like, after everything you put me through, it's time.
Oh my gosh. And we have to put pictures of what Noah and Micah looked like before they left, because we have pictures. And like one of them had a fake bird on their
That was for
shoulder.
theirs.
Oh,
They
that was
dressed
for
up for a lot of
y'all's.
things.
Oh, well, we'll put pictures of that too.
Well, and that was another thing. He like went on the boardwalk, and after he was talking about being there, and he was like, yeah, I told them like where to meet me, and I was like, man, where are they? And there were only 2 other people on the boardwalk, and he didn't see them somehow.
I don't know.
Did you see them?
He was just
Well,
too
I saw
nervous.
them, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had no idea. They did a good job, I guess.
Yeah, he was nervous. I saw your pony, like your clip in the reflection. And I was like, well, it's your head. Yeah.
And then we were going back to the house, and I was like excited to see my parents. And then we pull up, and I saw my friend Brooke's car, and then Laramie's dad's truck, and I was like, what is going on? He like got me so good with
We
that,
were having
actually.
a party.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
all of our friends and family were there, and that was so fun. That was
There
like
was-
the funnest part. I
There
think.
was a
There were-
lot of people there.
Y'all, we were like, they've got a lot of friends. They have
was like, they're
way
so
more
popular.
friends than we. Yeah, we're like, they're popular over there in Stephenville. They got a lot of friends, and you did.
Yeah, and most of them we still talk to actually.
And I made that video that was like, what do you think Chloe's gonna say?
Yeah.
We need to put that into. That was cute. Yeah, that was cute.
And then we started planning our wedding, and I say well, actually, Laramie had more opinions than I thought he was gonna
Laramie's
have.
an opinionated guy.
I was like, you care about this? Okay, like fine.
And it was a beautiful wedding.
It was.
Yeah.
It was
The
really
chandeliers, icing on the cake, man. Those were so
Yeah,
pretty.
my mom spent a lot of time on those. I don't even think I helped on those.
No, you did. You sat upstairs with her and helped.
Maybe.
One session. It did take a lot of work.
took a
though.
long time.
Yeah.
But we got married out on the property. My parents got married here too, but they got married in the big house. We got married outside, and yeah. And then
your
we moved in
wedding-
here, and Laramie he went to EMT school first, and then he got his firefighting job. And here we are.
And here we are. And how long have you been married?
3 years. Well, 3 years in June. Almost 3
Years
years.
in June. Your wedding vows were so beautiful. My mom still talks about your wedding vows and like you guys just your story, because you guys just laid it all out, you know, and that's like kind
It
of
takes
what a
a lot.
wedding is supposed to be. I feel like it's really just like sharing, like, how did we get here? Because not everybody knows the ins and outs. And
Well, and the fact that like Laramie like put in his vows like, you know, like he broke up with you and you know, and he just loves you so much, and in his vows it was so evident that like
Chloe,
he
he's
adores
obsessed
you.
with you. It's like, it's embarrassing. No, I'm just kidding. He totally is so gone for you, Chloe. It is just
so
like
cute.
I think that's why it's so crazy to me, like that all of that happened, because I'm like, I literally
Would have never guessed.
just everything he does for you, and it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
I know. I always say he's made me lazy. Like when I was living at home, my dad was like, "Okay, let's go cut firewood for spring break," and then now like Laramie would never let me do that.
He's gonna be a
He'd be
good
like,
girl
"Go sit
dad.
inside."
Yeah. If he has a girl, we'll see. And now you have a son. Should we say that?
I think didn't we say that on the?
Last one.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. I forgot. I'm like, we
I
need
mean,
to start.
yes, I do. Yeah.
we already said that. Kendall.
So me and Micah, Chloe's little brother, we met in high school. I'm trying to think of like where to start. We started Snapchatting each other.
Well, where'd you meet?
Where did you meet?
We met at physical therapy, but we Snapchatted each other. Like we added each other before
before?
that,
Really?
because we had mutual friends.
Okay.
So we like knew of each other,
Interesting.
but we like had never talked. So he like added
And never
me.
met.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy because I feel like everybody knows Micah. I mean, I guess you knew of him.
I mean,
like you
yeah, I
said.
knew
Yeah.
of him for like when he was a freshman. Like we had mutual friends, so I knew of him then. But before then, I mean, we had gone to school together for like, I mean, we went to all the same schools, and we're only a year apart. So I probably
weird.
should have known him, but I
Yeah.
didn't.
We can't make Micah look too cool because
Yeah.
it'll go to his head in the podcast.
But so after he added me on Snapchat, I was like, oh, like I'll just like Snapchat him because like that's what you did. And he left me on red. And I was like, okay, like that's fine. And
He
then
was nervous because you were so beautiful.
yeah, that's what it was.
That is what it was. That is what it was.
And then we started going to physical therapy, and I think like the first day we went together, he was like practicing like soccer because he played soccer at the time. So he was like practicing soccer with one of the PTAs, and he like kicked the ball wrong, and it hit me in the face as I was doing like a different exercise, and we both just started laughing. And then after that we started Snapchatting, and we Snapchatted literally for so long, for like probably like 4 or 5 months. We Snapchatted and just like talked back and forth, and I was like, this guy is never going to ask me out, like oh my gosh. But at the time he thought that I was dating one of his friends, which how that didn't like.
I'm also like, why are you Snapchatting for 4 or 5 months if
you thought she was dating one of your friends?
Micah.
It's so bad. I love it.
I don't know. But he was like really good friends with that David who was in our wedding. He thought I was dating him.
Yeah. David was in your wedding.
Yeah. And I guess David had told him like, no, that's not who I'm, because he did have a girlfriend at the time. It just was not me. And so David was like, no, I'm not dating Kendall. And Micah was like, oh, okay. So then, yeah.
They don't tell each other anything.
No.
It's the craziest
Like, how do you not know?
I don't know.
Because in our high school, we have like what we call like the mall area, and there's like a balcony area that overlooks it. And David and his girlfriend would always be up there at the same time that me and Micah were up there, but we were on like opposite ends. So how
I love
he
that
didn't
you clocked everyone in this.
like,
and you knew where
I
everyone
knew where
was
like my
standing.
people were. So,
Your people and Micah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he would always hang out with these guys, with one of the Ixchu boys. And at the time, I remember this so vividly because I thought it was so crazy.
Yeah.
He would like send his phone down the mall area in something, and it would like video it, and it was like an everyday thing he would post. I don't know.
Wait, Micah?
No. Chris.
Oh, I was like, I've never
Send
heard
it
that.
down how? Off the
I
balcony?
don't remember how his phone like got down, but it was like a daily like Snapchat video that he would post. I don't know.
He thought he was
And Micah would hang out with him, so
something.
like I knew because everyone in the mall area would like watch him every day. We're like, what is this kid doing?
So,
Micah was
which
with
it's
him.
true. Chris? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, after that, he found out we weren't dating. So then he asked me to go hiking with him and David. And I was like, if this boy is trying to set me up with David, like I do not want to go on a date with David. And so then I like talked to my parents about it because I was like, oh, like it's a chance to hang out with Micah.
Yeah.
And like I'll just like make it very obvious that I like him and not David. But
How were you going to do that?
I was just gonna talk to Micah like
You're just
all
going
the
to
time.
ignore David.
Well, like he was just gonna like be there. It was gonna be me and Micah and then David. But my parents were like, no, you cannot go on a hike with 2 boys that we don't really know. Like that's so unsafe. And I was like, oh my gosh, like just let me go.
It makes it logical. Like, of course they would never let you do
Yeah.
that, though. Like, that's so funny.
So then I had to like tell Micah no, and he was like, oh, like whatever, you know, like that's okay. And then, so do y'all remember like the Snapchat thing of like, what are you the CEO of? It was like a TikTok thing. And so like I sent that to people because I was like making one, I don't know. And Micah said I was the CEO of not wanting to hang out with him. And I was like, no, like I will hang out with you.
in
Like,
a way, it was kind of bold. He was fishing
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah. That's cute.
and so then he like was like, well, would you want to go like do like putt-putt sometime? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And so then I didn't tell my parents till the night before because I like knew they were gonna like ask all these questions, and I like just did not want to sit there and like talk about
Because
it
they're
for
loving
hours.
parents who are involved in your life.
Yeah, well, because he didn't like call it a date,
Yeah.
so I like didn't say it was a date to my parents because I was like, Micah didn't say it was a date, so I guess we're just hanging out, and my parents are like, okay, like you don't just like go hang out with like just a boy and a girl, you know. But they were like, okay, if it's not a date, like whatever.
Should I tell this my perspective that
Yeah.
I have too?
It's so funny.
Well, because we were all, apparently you were not there, but we're all in the living room. Me and like Noah and Micah and Papa was there and Keely, and Micah was like sitting in the chair and Papa was like, hey, like, he like wanted him to help him with something or something. And Micah was like leaning over like on his knees like this. And I don't know why I remember that. He was like, he was kind of like this. And Papa was like, hey, can you help me? And Micah was like, no, I can't. And Papa was like, why? And Micah was like, well, I'm like about to leave to go. Yeah, you can turn it off. I can tell that you're freezing. And Micah was like, well, I'm going to hang out with somebody. And we're like, oh. Like, Mike not like, well, actually, he actually is kind of big, but we were like, oh, who? And he was like, Kendall. And we were like, oh, it's a date? He was like, no. And we were like, what do you mean? Like,
who else is going? Why is it on a date?
Yeah, like, who? Oh, like, and I was like, I think I said, oh, like, you're going with other people? And he was like, no. And I was like, Micah, that's a date. I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, no, it's not a date. I was like, okay, like, okay.
Because when I tell him, like, my perspective now, he's like, well, how could you not know that wasn't a date? And I was like, well, you didn't call it a date.
He definitely told Holly. He was like, no, it's not a date. And we're like, okay. And I think I remember him, like, leaving and Killy be like, it's a date. Like, I don't know. I just, like, anyway, okay, continue. Yeah.
So then that day, he, like, picked me up and we went to go play putt-putt, and then he took me to Chick-fil-A, which, because Chick-fil-A is my, like, favorite. And then we, like, didn't want it to end, but, like, we didn't want to, like, go back to each other's houses. It was just, like, that would have been weird. So we were like, oh, we'll just go, like, walk around Target. And then we sat in the patio furniture section in this, like, egg thing. And we sat there for, like, an hour and a half just, like, talking. And it was honestly so fun.
Well,
and
still to this day, what you guys do is you go to Chick-fil-A and you go to Target.
Yeah.
It's like your favorite thing. You did that the whole time you dated.
Yeah, we did.
It's your favorite.
Well, it's because, like, we didn't have to buy anything, but it was, like, a way for us to, like, a cheap date where we could just, like, hang out and not be around everybody.
Yeah. Because the cooks, I feel like y'all just grill so hard. You grill so hard. Like, and now I'm that way. Like, anybody says, like, pronounces a word wrong, dead. Like, canceled. Like, says anything wrong, like, done for. Like,
a lot of it's Noah.
Oh, like, who are you hanging out with? Oh, it's a date. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is no, like, hiding. Like, we're putting it all out on the table. So I just feel like it's so funny. Like, I don't know. Like, anytime, like, with, like, when Chloe had any news about Laramie, we'd be like, tell us more. What's happening? Like, we all had to know the ish. Like, so anyway, yeah, okay.
So then we went on our first date, and then, like, COVID was happening. So, like, then everything got, like, shut down. My mom had just had, like, a surgery, so we weren't allowed to go anywhere because they weren't going to let her go to her doctor's appointments if we had, like, been out and about. Plus, she, like, we didn't really know what was going on, and, like, she could not get sick, so we had to stay there, and Micah was, like, out and about, and I was like, he's gonna find someone else, like, while he's out, like, and he, like, I'm just gonna miss this opportunity. But we, like, FaceTimed every night, and
yeah,
we would do, like, I would, like, set up a movie on my computer, and then I would, like, set him on the phone next to me, and the first movie he, like, wanted to watch was, like, Hot Rod, which to this day I will not watch again because it was literally so terrible. But he fell asleep, like, halfway through the movie, and, like, I didn't know him well enough to be like, wake up, like, what are you doing? So I, like, sat there and watched the movie by myself.
Much. We'd never seen Micah like that. I mean, not that I'd known Micah my whole life or anything, but also I'd never seen Micah like that, you know?
But then after COVID, we went out on more dates, and then my mom was like, when is he gonna ask you to be his girlfriend? And I was like, I have no idea. And my friends were asking me, like, are y'all official yet? And I was like, no, he hasn't asked me. And then so then one of my friends, like, Snapchatted him, he was like, when are you gonna ask him to be your girlfriend? And he was like, I thought she already was. My friend was
what is with the Cook boys just ignoring that step? Did Laramie ask you to be well, you didn't tell us that story. Well, I get it happened. It happened.
Well, then my friend was like, no, like, y'all aren't official, you haven't asked her yet. And so then the next day we were hanging out, and then he asked me. And I was like, yes, I will.
Aw, that's so cute. Your story sounds so, like, Gen Z compared to my story. I feel like there's, like, so many other things happening.
What do you mean?
Like,
you did Snapchat?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Snapchat. Yeah, we did. We did. I think it's just because y'all started dating, like, at a younger age, maybe, than we did. So
we met each other when we were 16, but we didn't start dating till I was, like, 17. But then, yeah, we the whole like religion thing did come into play with us, because I remember like we were Snapchatting like during COVID, and I was like, are you gonna like come to church with me? Because like to me it was like,
Yeah.
you like gotta come to church with me, like you have to be like Christian, you have to be a believer, like or
Yeah.
else like this, like we're not even gonna try this because it's not gonna work. And he was like, yeah, I'll come to church with you if you come to Bible study with me. And I was like, yeah, like that's a fair trade.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, yeah, let's do that. And I remember the first time I came to Bible study, I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, kind of like, what is this? Because I had never been around anything like that before. Or like heard of it. Even though it's like, it's just the Bible.
Yeah.
But like the way, the way it was like y'all were doing it, I was like, what the heck? Like, this is weird. But
in a way, it's kind of a culture shift.
No,
because you're
it
kind of like
is.
removing, like, kind of have to remove yourself like from like the world and like submerge yourself in like the word. You know, it's a shift for sure. Yeah.
So then, after coming to like Bible study, and we were like going along further in our relationship, I think it was the summer that like Micah was about to go to college, which was like kind of a big deal for us because we were so used to being like with each other like every day, all day long, and we were about to be like maybe see each other on the weekends, which looking back we saw each other like every single weekend. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it felt like a big deal to us. And like I wasn't sure of like where this was going to take us, but I was so sure of like Micah is the guy I have been praying for literally like so long. Because I had a Sunday school teacher, and I was probably like in 6th grade, and she was like, you know, it's never too early to start praying for your spouse. And I was like, you know what? Like, you're right. Like at 11 years old, I was like, I'm just going to start praying.
That's so
And
sweet.
so I prayed for like very like specific things. Like I wanted to be high school sweethearts.
Aw.
And like just like weirdly specific things that Micah is. But
That is so
I
beautiful.
but I also prayed that like he would have a relationship with God, and that he would have his own faith, and that not only he would have like a very strong faith, but his family would too. And
Wow,
it
Kendall.
literally like the way y'all just like worked this out is like crazy to me, because it's like everything I prayed for since I was 11 years old
That's so
like
beautiful.
came to be. And just like
Wow.
I just love that, because he was so faithful. And like I think a lot of times like when you pray you kind of expect an answer like right then, and it's like no, like God worked that over like 6 years of like preparing Micah to be ready for this relationship. So I like was confident in us, but I was like, I just don't know how this is gonna go. So I was like really scared, and I had to figure out like, are we gonna do like Christmas and Easter? Are we gonna do Sukkot and Passover? Because that was a big deal for me. Because when we first started dating, I was like, Micah, like we're not gonna do
Yeah.
like if we get married, like we're gonna have to do what I do.
Right.
And so, but Micah was
I think that's
very
a totally
like
normal
Yeah.
response, though. Yeah.
But Micah was very firm, like, no, like, I'm not gonna do that. And just, like, the fact that he stood his ground so much, and he was, like, he just knew what he needed to do. And,
He knew
like,
his convictions, and he couldn't. It was like the same thing.
and the fact that he wasn't gonna,
Yeah.
like, bend that for me, I was like, like, he loves y'all so much, and he wants to do what y'all is telling him to do, and I just respected that so much.
And he's always been like that. Like, out of all of us, he was probably like 10 when we kind of stopped going to regular church, and he was like all in. He was like,
Yeah, which I think is
get
so
rid of all the
sweet.
stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I'm all in.
That's just so sweet. Yeah.
And I was always like, how can you be that way so easy?
Yeah.
But I just remember, like, one night, like, praying, because I was like, if we're gonna, like, move forward, because it was getting to that point where we had dated for, like, I think we were at, like, 3 years, and I was like, okay, like, I'm ready for the next step. We had kind of talked about it, but the thing that me and Micah, like, were kind of waiting on is to align, like, biblically. And so one night, this is, like, to this day, one of the hardest prayers I've ever prayed, because I didn't want to lose Micah, but I knew I had to do what y'all wanted me to do. So I prayed that he would convict me, whether it was I needed to continue going to church and celebrating Christmas and Easter because that's what he wanted me to do, or I needed to switch to Torah. Because I was, like, really conflicted. I wasn't sure, like, I didn't, like, have a problem with doing either. I just needed to do what he wanted me to do. Mm-hmm. And so then literally the next day I was like, I need to do Torah. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what, like, he just, like, convicted me of that. And so then on, I, like, told Mike, I was like, yeah, like, if we get married, then we can do that. And
we have such similar stories.
I know.
I don't think I realized how similar they were. That's wow. It's crazy.
But
I think the difference was me and Noah came into it together.
Yeah.
And
Micah was already.
And Micah was kind of yeah.
But but I also trusted Micah completely because I had prayed for a guy that would lead me and our family in faith, and that he would have a strong faith on his own. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what Micah had. So I trusted him in that, and I trust him to lead me and our future family. So after that, we kind of like, okay, like, well, one of us needs to have a job at least. And so we kind of waited till I was going to be near the end of school to graduate. Mm-hmm. So then we would get, okay, let me rephrase that. So we kind of figured out like when, like the time frame of like when we would need to get engaged and like how long we wanted to be engaged, because we were also living like in different cities at the time. So it was like we kind of had to like plan and get that figured out before we could really like start planning, I guess.
Well, in long distance, it's weird. I had this thought yesterday. I don't even know why I was thinking about it, but I feel like long distance isn't the problem. It's the relationship that probably is the problem. Because long distance is never going to be an issue if you're committed to that relationship.
But you don't know that until you've done long distance. Because going into long distance, I was like, oh my gosh, this is literally going to be the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't fun.
No, but I think it was also
But it's also not like we're going to break up because we're not in the same town.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the case, then it's not the distance that's the problem. It's the
Yeah.
relationship that's the problem. Yeah.
But I think, though, like, that was sad and that was, like, a hard time for us, I think it was really needed. Because I think I was, like, so dependent on Micah that it was good for me to be like, okay, I can be on my own. Like, I can do stuff on my own. I think it was good for him just to experience college and go to school like he always wanted to do. And then we'd come together on weekends and we'd hang out and we had the best time. And we would talk and FaceTime literally all day, every day. But I think that was healthy for us and it made us stronger in our relationship. Okay, so then it was like the end of summer. He was about to go back to school. And we had kind of talked about getting engaged in the fall. So I was like, oh, like, it's going to happen sometime soon. I was like so excited. But he like still hadn't like talked to my dad about anything. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, come on, dude, like, just talk to him already. But I was like, I would have known because I was literally like, weekends was like our time together. So it was like hard to kind of for him to figure out a time to go do that. So I was on my friend Brooke's bachelorette trip, and me and Mike had been talking like all weekend, and then all of a sudden he kind of like got quiet, and I was like, that's so weird. And so I looked at because he like turned off his location on his phone, so I couldn't see where he's at, and I was like, well, that's weird. So I went on Snapchat
and found his like, oh my god.
I was like, what is he
She's
doing?
a little sleepy.
And so, well, also on Find My iPhone, my dad put it on like airplane mode, but he put it on, because he thought that turned off his location, but it doesn't. And he like, he was at home and Mike was at home, and I was like,
you're investigating.
Oh, I was like, what are they talking about?
I love that your dad tried to hide from you where he was. That is so
like
funny
I'm
to
nosy,
me.
and everyone knows that I'm nosy.
You're so nosy, Kendall.
So he tried. It didn't work.
Yeah.
But
you were smarter than them.
Brooke and Sydney, I was like, I think Mike is asking my dad if he can marry me. And I was like so excited the rest of the trip. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best. And so then 3 weeks later, he prior to that, he had told me to like play into everything. He told me that like bird migration is like at its like peak at this time of year, and so he was like telling me like,
is, that's not strange at all for Micah to say
no, I was
that.
totally like, of course he would tell me this. And so he had told me this, and I was like driving to school, and I was like, man, there's a lot of birds. Like Micah was right; they are like migrating right now.
Was that true, or was he just
I don't
making
know.
that up?
No
None
idea.
of us know if that's true.
You wouldn't. He knows you would never go look that up either.
No,
so.
and he knows that I take like everything he says. I'm like, yeah, that's true.
Same. Not
I'm
with
just
Micah.
like-
I see right through it with Micah. Like when he tells you stuff, and you're like, I'm like, Kendall, he is lying to your
I just trust him
face.
so much. I'm like, yeah, obviously, like he would know. But if anyone was to know it, it would be Micah. Like Micah would know when
Yeah.
birds are like at peak migration.
Yeah.
You know. So the whole like I was like, man, the birds really are like migrating, and so then he's like, hey, like how about? I think it was like on Saturday, we like go have like a nice dinner at Bonnell's, and I was like, Bonnell's. Like, that's really expensive, and we have no money.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, that'll be fun. And then I, like, looked at the menu. I was like, I don't like anything on this menu. Like, it all looks disgusting.
Like online? You looked online?
Yeah, because I was like,
It
what
was
do they
fancy
have?
people food, yeah.
I was like, this is like each plate was like $50, and I was like, we don't even have $50. Like, how are we going to buy this meal? And so I was like, okay, like whatever. And then in the back of my mind, I was like, he's probably like trying to just get me to dress up.
Oh.
And so after Bible study, like I went home and I changed. Well, actually, we were at Matt and Keely's house. We were over there after Bible study at the big house. And I was just chilling. Like, we had plenty of time. Like, I wasn't worried.
At night?
No,
After
like this
Bible-
was like during the day because we were at the Pesias that week.
Oh, we were during the day.
And
Okay,
so
got it.
then we went over to Matt and Keely's to hang out, and I guess when Mike had like gone into the kitchen to get something, Keely was like, "You need to get her out of here." So
Yeah.
I feel like I remember that too. That's
Yeah.
so-
well, because
We
then
were
y'all
like,
drove
why are they
us,
still
and I was like,
here?
"Why are Chloe and Larry
Oh,
here?"
yeah. That's
And
right.
because I think y'all thought that we weren't there.
Mm-hmm. Because we all thought Micah was going to leave earlier and take you, and he like
Yeah.
hadn't left yet, and we were all like,
Which I was like, we're just going to dinner. Like at this point, you know, I had kind of thought maybe, but I wasn't like sure. I was like, I feel like I don't know. Like I just thought like, oh, we like probably like would have left by now. We'd like would be in a hurry. So then we went to my house and I got dressed and I was like, surely like if something was happening, my parents would be acting weird. And no, they were like, bye, see you later, you know? And so then we left. And he was like, we're just gonna, like, take a different way to Fort Worth. And I was like, okay. Like, that's weird. Because we went through Saginaw. And I was like, we have never done this before. I was like, this is really weird. And he was like, after dinner, can we go to Eagle Mountain Park to watch the birds? And I was like, sure, like, I guess. If that's what you want to do. Like, I don't think it's gonna be, like, daylight anymore. We're not gonna be able to see anything.
Yeah.
Because he was like, our reservations are at 6. So then we, like, drove all the way through Saginaw. And then we, like, went to Lake Worth and then went to Fort Worth, which
yeah.
is totally
Makes no
out of
sense.
the way.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, the timing between Micah and Noah was kind of, like, there's some miscommunication there because I think Noah
Shocking.
was...
Shocking that details were left out between those two.
Because Noah, I think, was supposed to call when we were in Saginaw, so it would make more sense. Just like, oh, we'll just go there now. But we were in Fort Worth.
Well,
when-
the idea that Bonnell's would call you.
Literally. So Noah called,
I'm like,
pretending
why
to be
didn't you
Bonnell's,
just go
like...
bird watching first?
I don't know.
Well, the thing is that...
It could have been so much simpler.
The thing is that Bonnell's called and was like, we forgot
Bonnell's.
your reservation. We're not even there yet. How do you know we have a reservation?
And forgot
Also,
it.
what do you mean? If you forgot it, how do you
remember you
know
forgot
that you
it?
forgot
Exactly,
it?
that's what I'm saying. Like, how would Bonnell's even know yet that they
Did you
forgot if we're
ask
not there?
him these questions?
No, because I was so hungry. And I was like, I just need food. And he was like, well, how about we just go Chick-fil-A? And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We were going to go to this very pricey dinner, and now all of a sudden we're going Chick-fil-A?
And I love this.
And I'm
like-
dressed up.
I was like, no, like, let's go get, like, velvet taco. And he was like, Like, okay.
Oh my
and
God.
and the fact that Micah never actually intended to take you to dinner.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that. I thought for sure, like, we're at least eating.
out this whole thing and it never involved dinner. I just think
But
that is
you
so-
tell me we're eating and I want to eat. So we're like we like make an order to go at Velvet Taco and we're like waiting and Mike is like, we're not gonna make it. And I was like, dude, like if our reservations were at 6, we weren't gonna make it anyway. Like it doesn't matter.
I don't care about the birds.
And then he was like, okay, well, we'll just eat it on the way. And I was like, okay. So I ate my taco.
And Velvet
On the
Taco
way.
is best in that environment, so it's kind of a shame.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I like ate my taco on the way. And I was like, okay, like this night is not planning out like anything how I thought. And at this point, I'm like, it's like so late. We're not getting, like, he's not proposing tonight. And so then we go to the Eagle Mountain Park and he like gets out his like camera bag. He's like, I gotta have like my camera so I can take pictures of all the birds. And I'm like looking around, I'm like, I don't see any birds. I'm like, all the birds are already gone. So then we like walk into the park and I see this family taking family photos. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's so cute. And he was like, the guy taking pictures of the birds, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, there's someone taking pictures of birds. Like, we were just, like, completely, like, not looking in the same direction, and I didn't even see, like, Laramie and Noah over there. Like, I was just paying attention to the cute family and the cute kids running around that was taking photos, and I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, there's no one taking
They're
pictures
not
of
cute.
birds.
I don't know what you think is cute about this. You guys taking pictures of birds, but there's nothing cute about that.
But he kept telling me, he's like, no, there's like, guys, there's like, they're taking
The
pictures
fact that he
of
kept
birds.
bringing it up.
I
I'm like,
know.
draw more attention to them, please.
I was like,
I don't know
no.
why it's so funny. It's just.
But that's like
he
still
was
us like
nervous.
bickering in the moment. We were like, no, like that's not it, you know? And so then he's like, okay, look, he's like,
And y'all
we,
bicker
like,
all the time, so it's like
yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
we like stopped talking about the other people and we were just like walking. And he's like, oh, like, I gotta get my camera out. And he digs in the tiniest little pocket. And I'm like, your camera's not in there. And so I start, like, laughing because I know what's coming.
You had a laugh attack.
Yes,
Yeah.
because when I get nervous, I laugh. So and then he, like, got down on one knee and he, like, asked me the whole thing. And then I look over and I'm like, oh, that's who he's talking about. And it's Noah and Laramie with birds all over them. I'm like, how did I not notice? But
The fact that they wore a bird on their shoulder,
it's
the fake
so
birds,
funny.
that
Well, whenever they
Would've
left, I was like,
ruined-
you're going to draw attention to
That's
yourself
what-
because I'm going to be like,
clearly
there's
not.
a bird on that
when
guy's
they were
shoulder.
getting dressed, I was like, you need a fake bird to what? Like, I don't
To
understand.
fake bird watching.
I just don't understand. Like, she's going to notice. Like, the whole thing's going to be ruined.
No.
And clearly that was not the case.
And
No,
Micah
I-
even tried to draw attention to him.
I know. I'm like, I don't
Those
know
two
what he was
guys
trying to do
bird
there.
watching.
There's nothing
Like,
cute
he
about
knew they
those
were
two
bird
guys
watching.
over there. Oh my gosh, okay, sorry.
So then he asked me to marry him, and I said yes. And then we headed back, and I was like trying to call my mom and my dad to tell them,
Yeah.
and they weren't answering their phones. And I'm like, I was like kind of irritated. I was like, you know what, like fine, like whatever, like don't answer your phone, like when the biggest thing just happened to me.
When your eldest daughter is trying to call you and tell you the biggest news of her life. Yeah.
And so I think I called like Brooke instead, and she was like, oh my gosh, like yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because I mean, Micah didn't even call Brooke and Colton, and like Brooke had no idea like this was happening.
Wait, what?
Brooke had
I thought she was there that night.
And
No, it
later,
was just
Brooke
her
was
family.
like, I was really sad that I wasn't at your engagement party. And I was
Aw.
like, I'm so sorry. Like, I had nothing to do with it. Like, I
It
would
is
have had
100% Micah's fault, and I'm really sorry that he's let us both down, Brooke.
Oh my gosh.
But it was so funny because I knew.
That actually is so sad.
It's okay. We've moved on. It's funny because, like, I helped Colton get in touch with Noah to take pictures. So, like, I knew exactly when it was happening. Like, I was, like, that day I was waiting from a call from Brooke. And then she had absolutely no idea I was getting engaged. So, it's so funny. But that's so Mike could like keep it a secret because he knows I'm so nosy. So he didn't even tell my family he was like when he was proposing to like later like the same week.
Yeah.
So I was like irritated that my parents weren't like answering their phone. So then we drive back to Matt and Keely's house and everyone's there. I'm like, oh, like that's so sweet. He planned like a party and like my grandparents were there, which was really special.
That doesn't feel like that long ago. It's weird to me. But
Like it was only a year and a half ago.
yeah.
It's not too long. But no, that was just really sweet because he knew that I just like needed my family there, and that was like so fun. So yeah, and then we planned a wedding, and got married.
And your wedding was so beautiful. And
Yeah,
Nate cried
I
like a
loved it.
baby.
Nate did cry like a baby, which I feel like I was kind of rude to him because I was like, Nate, why are you crying? Like, suck it up. Because he was just like bawling.
Yeah.
Like,
I've never seen Nate like that
the
before in my life. I've
entire
never seen
time-
any man like that.
No, I know.
like
well, I
after
remember,
the ceremony, he was still like
Yeah.
really like crying. I was like, Nate, like you gotta get it together, man. Like I don't know what is going
yeah,
on.
well, I remember
Your
giving him a
vows.
hug, and he was just like just let me hug him. I was like,
Yeah. No, that's not
What's
very
wrong?
Nate like. But it's because he loves Micah so much.
yeah.
You said that last time. It's because he loves Micah so
Yeah.
much. And you also your vows were so I can't even talk about it's gonna make me cry. Because Micah cried and I was like, no. No, I can't. You know, like and Chloe was even like, everybody just get ready because I'm gonna cry. Like it was just
And Emery
and I
cried.
don't like really cry at weddings. Like I don't I just it's just because I love y'all so much and it was just so sweet.
I cried during my vows. I feel like people couldn't really understand me.
No, I
I
could
was crying.
understand you. And it just, I think like Micah reading his vows and crying, I was just like, this is so beautiful.
His vows were so sweet. I love
Yeah, because Mike is not serious ever.
Right.
He's always
That's
just
what
like-
it was. Yeah.
Also, you were saying that Brooke like didn't know about the engagement or whatever. Well, when Jenna got engaged, she like FaceTimed me one night and she was like telling me about something, and I was like, Jenna? I was like, what's on? Like, what was that? And because she like went like this or something, and she was like, oh yeah, Nick proposed, and I was like,
And she didn't even tell you.
That's crazy. That is the most Jenna thing I've ever
Yeah.
done in my life.
and I was like, well, how did he do it? Like, what?
Have you seen that video that's like, to all the nonchalant people out there, how do you do it? Because I've got an excess of chalantness. That Jenna is so nonchalant.
Yeah.
But also somehow has a lot of chalant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it made me think of that. I was like, she didn't tell me for like a week.
That
That's
is
crazy.
so crazy.
Because I don't know, like, I was like telling everybody.
Yeah,
I was
me
like,
too.
Mike proposed. Like,
Yeah.
I was literally like,
And your adorable
so
ring.
excited.
Yeah, I love it. That's so sweet.
I was really excited.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Remember when Chloe got her ring and we were like, dang.
I know, I was like, that's so big.
And I told him that I wanted like something dainty, and when he pulled it out, I was like,
ring is the fattest. Hold it up. It's like the fattest ring. That's so good. I hope the time hasn't run out. Sorry if I grabbed your wrist too hard. I was like, aggressive. That was so good. Yeah, I love that. Okay, I feel like we have to say one more time. Episode 2, How We Met Our Spouses. Hey. I just wasn't sure if we said that, so
Yeah,
I wanted
I
to
think-
get it in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yay.
I don't really know how to end it. We'll snap out.